You have been told your whole life that you pull away because you do not care. You have been told that your silence means you are cold. You have been told that your distance means you are not invested. But the truth that you have never said out loud is this: you do not pull away because you do not care. You pull away because caring feels dangerous. You pull away because closeness activates something inside you that feels too big, too raw, too exposed. And instead of reaching out, you retreat. Instead of opening, you contract. Instead of speaking, you go quiet. You say nothing. You show nothing. You feel everything. But she does not see any of it. To her, your self-protection looks like disinterest. You think you are protecting the connection by not overwhelming her with your fear. You think you are protecting the moment by not revealing the chaos happening inside your chest. You think that holding everything in is what makes you strong. But to a woman, your distance feels like abandonment. It feels like rejection. It feels like you are slowly fading out of the relationship, even while your heart is still trying to stay in it. What you need to understand is that women do not read your intentions. They read your behavior. You may believe that your silence is discipline. You may believe that your space is responsibility. You may believe that keeping your feelings to yourself is the mature thing to do. But she experiences your self-protection as disconnection. It is not that you are uninterested. It is that you are overwhelmed, and your instinct is to retreat into yourself instead of reaching toward her. There is a part of you that has been doing this for years. A part that learned very early that revealing your emotions meant losing control. A part that learned that opening up invited disappointment. A part that learned that the safest place to be was alone with your feelings, not in the presence of someone who could misunderstand them, misuse them, or judge them. That part of you did not disappear when you became an adult. It grew stronger, quieter, more automatic. And now, in every connection, it activates before you can stop it. There is something you need to hear right now. Stop for 3 seconds and comment this sentence: I am safe enough to stay open. Write it so your mind starts to register a new pattern. And if you recognize yourself in these words, subscribe. Because your entire inner world is about to shift into something stronger, more masculine, more grounded. The self-protection habit begins in your nervous system long before you notice it in your behavior. You feel a subtle emotional pressure, a shift in her tone, a slight change in her expression, a comment that hits deeper than she intended, a moment of tension, a moment of uncertainty, a moment when she is closer than you expected, and your body reacts. Your breath tightens, your chest closes. Your mind begins scanning for danger. You tell yourself you are overthinking, but your nervous system does not care. It does what it has always done. It withdraws, it hides. It shuts down your expression in order to keep you safe. But from the outside, she sees a man disappearing. When a woman senses emotional distance, she does not think, he is protecting himself. She thinks, he is losing interest in me. And once she feels this shift, she begins to protect herself too. She becomes guarded. She becomes less vulnerable. She stops initiating. She mirrors your withdrawal. Not because she wants to punish you, but because she believes she is reading your signals correctly. You see self-protection. She sees detachment. You see fear. She sees boredom. You see survival. She sees apathy. And once this misinterpretation begins, the entire dynamic shifts. You feel her pulling back, and instead of moving toward her, you pull back even more. She senses your withdrawal, and she withdraws again. You feel misunderstood, but you do not correct the misunderstanding. She feels unloved, but she does not tell you. The distance grows, not because either of you stopped caring, but because neither of you felt safe enough to say what you actually felt. Here is the deeper truth. You do not pull away because you are emotionally weak. You pull away because you were never taught how to stay open when your emotions are activated. Nobody taught you how to stay in your body when you feel vulnerable. Nobody taught you how to breathe through discomfort without shutting down. Nobody taught you how to remain present when your instinct is to escape inside yourself. So instead of disappearing physically, you disappear emotionally. You become quiet. You become distant. You become unreadable. You become harder to reach. And to a woman, emotional absence is worse than physical absence. Because emotional absence feels like she is alone even while you are right next to her. There is something important you need to understand. Women do not need you to be perfect. Women do not need you to be an emotional expert. Women do not need you to express everything you feel all the time. What women need is presence. A man who stays in the connection even when the emotions become intense. A man who stays grounded even when his heart is shaking. A man who remains open even when his instinct tells him to run. Women feel safe with men who remain emotionally present, not emotionally silent. But here's the key. Your self-protection is not a flaw, it is a wound. And every wound is a pattern that was created to keep you alive. You built this habit because at some point in your life, opening up meant getting hurt. At some point in your life, expressing your needs meant being ignored. At some point in your life, showing emotion meant losing power. At some point in your life, trusting someone meant being disappointed. Your mind remembers the pain. Your body remembers the danger. Your nervous system remembers the lesson. So now when you start to care about someone, that ancient wound whispers, do not get too close. Do not reveal too much. Do not rely on anyone. Protect yourself. And without realizing it, you obey. But here is the truth your wound never understood. Self-protection may keep you safe, but it also keeps you alone. It prevents you from being seen. It prevents you from being chosen. It prevents you from experiencing closeness. It prevents you from becoming the grounded masculine presence you were meant to be. A woman cannot feel safe if you disappear every time intimacy approaches. She needs to feel your emotional weight. She needs to feel your willingness to stay open. She needs to feel that you can hold your own fear without shutting her out. That is what builds trust. That is what creates safety. That is what makes her soften. That is what allows her to open. So how do you break this self-protection habit? You begin by noticing the moment you start to withdraw. The moment your chest tightens. The moment your thoughts start to spiral. The moment you begin predicting worst-case scenarios. The moment you begin assuming rejection. The moment you stop feeling present in your own body. That is the moment you must pause, not speak, not react, not retreat. Pause, breathe, feel your fear instead of obeying it. Your instinct will say, protect yourself. Your new identity must say, stay with yourself. Because when you stay with yourself, you do not abandon the connection. When you stay with yourself, she feels your presence again. When you stay with yourself, you project calm instead of fear. When you stay with yourself, you show her that you can handle closeness without collapsing. A man becomes deeply attractive when he can feel vulnerable without running from himself. Staying open does not mean oversharing. It does not mean confessing everything you feel. It means not disappearing. It means not going cold. It means not retreating into silence. It means letting your face show that you are still with her. It means letting your voice remain steady. It means letting your breath stay deep. It means letting your presence remain consistent even when your emotions feel difficult. If you can do that, you will feel something shift inside you. Suddenly, emotional intimacy no longer feels like danger. Suddenly, you are not performing strength, you are embodying it. Suddenly, she feels safer with you than she has ever felt with any man. Suddenly, your vulnerability becomes the foundation of your masculine power instead of a threat to it. There will come a moment when you are tempted to disappear again. A moment when she says something that triggers an old wound. A moment when you feel misunderstood. A moment when you feel your instinct pulling you inward. And in that moment, you will have a choice. You can fall back into the old pattern and watch the connection erode again. Or you can take a breath, stay in your body, Stay in the room, stay in your presence, and show her the man you are becoming. Because the truth is simple. You do not lose women because you do not care. You lose them because you disappear when you care the most. Stay present, and everything changes. There is another layer that you rarely notice, but it controls many of your small decisions. It shows up in simple situations that seem harmless. You take longer to reply to messages, not because you want to play games, but because you are afraid of saying the wrong thing. You avoid asking clear questions like, "What do you feel about this?" because you are afraid of hearing an answer that will hurt. You pretend that you are fine when something feels off, because you hope that the feeling will disappear on its own. You say that you are busy, that you have been tired, that you have had a lot on your mind. Some of that is true. But beneath it, there is one deeper truth. You are afraid of being seen in the exact moment when you feel the most insecure. A woman feels this as a wall. A soft wall at first, less eye contact, shorter replies, less warmth in your tone, less curiosity, less vulnerability. She will sense the wall long before she understands it. She may even blame herself for it. She may ask if she did something wrong. She may try harder to reconnect. But if your habit is to remain behind the wall, she will eventually stop trying. Not because she stopped caring, but because she feels that her heart is knocking on a door that never opens. If you want to break this pattern, you need more than awareness. You need practice. Real, uncomfortable, deliberate practice. Start small. The next time you feel the urge to shut down, do one thing differently. Instead of disappearing for a day, send one honest sentence. Something simple and grounded like, "I feel a little overwhelmed right now. I need a bit of time, but I am still here." You are not oversharing. You are not dramatic. You are just giving her a map so she does not feel lost in your silence. Then, when you feel your body tighten in the conversation, use it as a signal, not a command. You place your attention on your breath. You slow your exhale. You relax your jaw. You straighten your spine. You let your feet feel the ground. You remind yourself quietly, "I can stay." That one decision, made again and again, begins to rewire the habit that has been running your relationships for years. There is one more truth you need to integrate. Self-protection will always feel easier in the moment. It will always feel safer to say nothing, to reveal nothing, to risk nothing. In the short term, hiding feels like relief. But in the long term, hiding always becomes regret. Regret for the words you never said. Regret for the chances you never took. Regret for the connections that slowly died while you told yourself that you were simply protecting your peace. Strength is not the absence of fear. Strength is the decision to remain present even when fear is loud. Masculine presence is not a performance of coldness. It is the ability to feel deeply and stay. Stay in your body. Stay in the moment. Stay in the connection. Stay with yourself. If you feel that this is your pattern, take this as your assignment. For the next 7 days, do one small act of courageous presence each day. Ask one honest question. Give one honest answer. Share one real feeling. Admit one fear without apologizing for it. Stay in one difficult moment for 30 extra seconds instead of shutting down. These are small acts on the surface, but they are massive shifts in your nervous system. This is how you become the man who no longer disappears when it matters most. You have protected yourself long enough. It kept you alive, now it keeps you lonely. The habit that once saved you is now the habit that blocks you. It is time to build a new one. A habit of staying, a habit of breathing, a habit of remaining open just a little longer than feels comfortable. That is where your real masculinity lives. Not in how much you can shut down, but in how much truth you can hold without running away. If you are ready to step into that version of yourself, let this be the moment you decide you are not the distant man. You are not the cold man. You are not the unreadable man. You are the man who feels deeply and learns to stay. The man who builds trust instead of confusion. The man whose presence makes a woman feel safe enough to open, instead of forcing her to question her own worth. If this message resonates, do not just listen and forget. Scroll down, write one sentence about the pattern you are going to change, and subscribe so you can keep rewiring this part of your life. You are not here to repeat the same silent story. You are here to write a different one, with a different ending. The kind of ending where you do not have to lose people in order to feel safe with yourself.